This is Rogue Wing, Coraline, or Helen RD over at Starship Modeler. Welcome to the workshop. Okay, work continues at the breakneck pace I've set so far on the Angel Flight build. I've gone ahead and inserted the fuselage into the cockpit into the fuselage. Let's see if I can talk tonight. I'm pleased to know that for the first time out of the 3 times I've done this, this seam right down the middle of the fuselage is virtually non-existent as far as feel goes. I was able to, using the sanding sticks, run down the middle of the seam without having to favor one side or the other, which has it cleaned up now, and once I get a shot of primer on it, should be invisible. I haven't worried about the seam back here, because once I insert the bottom fuselage plate, that seam's going to be invisible. So at this point, just need to touch up the sanding a little and actually sand that seam, because it will be very visible. And we proceed to the next step, which would be getting these installed on the fuselage. Okay, picking up where I left off after taking a couple of days off. Got the engine cowling in place now, as well as the wings. This seam across the top here, it's now not so much stair-stepped as divoted because from my sanding attempts on it. Hopefully once I get some paint on it, it won't show as bad. Like I said, the wings are glued in place now. At this point, it's time to mask off the canopy. I figure if I mask the canopy and put it over the cockpit, it'll save me masking the cockpit. I won't glue the cockpit down though, because obviously I don't have the pilot in there yet. But at this point, it's time to start getting some paint on this thing. Okay, out on the porch to get the beginnings of primer. Got the engines and guns. They still need to be flipped over and given another coat. And over here, got the main body of the plane. Unfortunately, that big nasty seam down the middle of the fuselage is still a big nasty seam down the middle of the fuselage. I may have to see what I can do about fixing that. But that's where we sit. Alright, underside of the main body. More seams rearing their ugly heads, especially down here under the edge of the nose and along this midline here. Now, at this point I have to decide if I really want to fix them or not. If I were building for competition, I'd be more worried, but I'm building for me, so we'll have to see. Work on paint progresses. The main engines, the top engine, or at least the guts for it, and the guns. These were all primered in dark gray and then given a coat of Tester's graphite dust. I've yet to find a better dark metallic, or at least one that I like more. I like the way it looks on the parts I've used it on here. And now that these are painted, I can start weathering the engines and guns up while the base coat on the main body of the Viper waits for the paint to dry. Okay, likely the very final update for today. Gone ahead and brought the Viper in. At this point she's been given a coat of gloss white over the dark gray primer. Got some interesting gradations in the look. But that puts us exactly where I want to be right now. Namely ready to start doing the decaling and weathering this weekend. As you can see, or maybe not, those seams down the middle, a couple of them turned out alright. A couple of them, well, I've done better work. But the one down here on the nose at least, I'm thinking will get covered up by the decal there, so I'm not too worried about it. Still need to go in and detail paint the engine inlets and this area, but progress definitely continues. I don't know about you guys, but I'm looking forward to seeing this bird get done.